Welcome, welcome into Under the Spotlight. I can't even begin to tell you. There's so much joy in this room right now. Maybe it has a little bit to do with our nootropics beverage. Thank you to our sponsor, Happy Co. Cheers to you and your next level nootropics drink, energy, clarity, focus, and a delightful taste. So it really has to do with our guest. I'm Carmela Sterling, and my guest today is a woman who many of us just love her. And I got to thinking about this. We all love her and we see her on TV. She takes us shopping all the time. We're customers, we're colleagues, we're guests, whatever category of friend we may be, but we consider her a friend. And what is it about her? What is the magic? Because she is just like she is off camera as she is on camera. But today, because of Under the Spotlight, you have a chance to really get to know Mary Beth Roe. Join me, Mary Beth Roe, from her beautiful home in Pennsylvania. Hello, my friend. Oh
Hi,
my God.
Carmela. Oh my gosh, this is a dream come true for me to be able to sit and talk with you, but also to know that others are joining us that just want to know. It's kind of like wanting to know the background and things. And yeah, Carmela and I already teared up, the two of us. So,
What a mess. What an open. I couldn't wait. Oh my gosh, it's going to be Mary Beth. It's going to be the finest, most polished open. And I'm like, already waterworks happening. I have so many thank yous and hellos and regards to you from everybody I've ever worked with. As soon as your post went up that Mary Beth was going to be here Under the Spotlight, which is a weekly series of people who are interesting and impactful, you've impacted us with how you are and who you are, and just being you. You're always you, so comfortable in your skin. It's really kind of amazing. What do you
guess who I learned it from? You.
Oh,
I did. I did. And it's just so
serious.
everybody knows, Carmela was already a host at CVN, Cable Value Network, when I got there. And immediately I was just like mesmerized by her beauty and her confidence and her elegance and grace. And I thought, I want to be like Carmela. And it's not like she was much older than me. If I'm probably older than her, but the fact is that she was there first, and so I wanted to be her. And she had started in the business before I had. I had been in television news first. You had been at HSN down in Florida, and then come up to the States, or come up to Minnesota. Is that right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're sharing this.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I learned from you. I mean, you were my mentor. You took me under your wing, under your arm, literally, and just said, let me tell you how this works. Because, like I said, I'd been in news. I had shot news camera, I had edited news, I had done stand ups in news, but I didn't know anything about selling product. I
How
really,
did
really.
you land though in TV shopping? 'Cause weren't you Mrs. Minnesota when you first entered the building? Because it was all of us. Mrs. Minnesota's in the building. Was that before you went on air as a host that had happened?
No, actually, I was a host first because I started that in 1987 as when I joined Cable Value Network, CVN. And then it was while I was there that I competed for Mrs. Minnesota and won that. In fact, the funny part is that during that year of my reign, if you want to call it, as Mrs. Minnesota, that's when QVC bought CVN and asked me to transfer out to Pennsylvania. And so I literally hadn't even fulfilled my full year in Minnesota before I moved to Pennsylvania. So then I had to come back to Minnesota to give my crown to the next girl. But it was kind of like all happened while I was at CVN. And the reason I was at CVN was because I was in news and then I got married. And Mark and I moved up to Toronto, Canada, where he was working. And so we lived there for 3 years. Well, then we decided it was way too expensive to live in Toronto, believe me, for two young kids that, we were all of like 26 years old. And so we came back to Minnesota to be near family, and also for me to get a job again, because up there I really was having a hard time getting a job. And it was fine if he worked, but the spouse couldn't really work because we didn't have the work permit. I didn't have a work permit. But
Oh,
anyway,
right.
so we came back and I tried to get back into the TV stations in Minneapolis and nobody was hiring, nobody. And I had worked with a gal, Kathleen Kennedy, I believe is her name. I had worked with her and she had worked for, this will be a way back name, Governor Quee he was the governor of Minnesota back in like, I don't know, I want to say, when would that have been? That would have been in 1981.
Okay.
And so anyway, I knew her from Governor Quee's office. So I called her up. I'm like, I'm back in Minnesota. I need a job.
I never
Do
knew
you know of
this.
any jobs? And at that point, she was actually a PR person. And she said, well, I don't really know anything in television news, but she said, I got a brand new thing. It's a shopping channel that just started up and they're looking for talent. And I said, well, honey, I was born to shop. So let's talk. And
There's
she sent
that's the
me,
core of this whole
yeah,
career, born to shop.
born to shop. And so she sent
Oh,
me to the audition.
that's so
And this was
funny.
after you guys had already started up CBN, but not for long. You hadn't been there for long. And I auditioned with 40 other women, and I was like number 39 out of 40 to audition, and they were all beautiful, tall, thin models. And I kept looking around the room for like 4 hours. I waited, and I kept thinking, well, this is the biggest waste of time because there's no way they're going to take me over other beautiful women,
Surprise.
whatnot. And it was funny because, it's just how God works in mysterious ways. And I auditioned with a herringbone necklace,
Oh,
which was one of the fewest things to say about. I mean, it's like you take a herringbone necklace, what are you going to
oh,
say? Hours and
what?
hours and minutes. And it was John, what's his name?
I remember who you're talking about.
Anyway,
Yes.
John, the guy watching, and he came in and he goes, that was amazing. He said, you were the first one that was still talking when we gave you the rap.
She can talk up a storm. When
Yeah.
you present, okay, so way back when, and then QVC, and I remember this, lots to the story. Bought out CVN. There was only home shopping and a few little ones here and there, and then
Yeah.
QVC. And God bless QVC for making such a beautiful platform for this industry, which I love, and I know you love. When you prepare to go on the air, you had to wing the herringbone. Tell everyone how much prep is actually involved,
Mm.
because we look at it like, oh, Mary Beth gets all dolled up, something new clothes in her hair and everything, and walks out there. I actually got a message from someone yesterday, a friend viewer, who said, I love Mary Beth's hair. I just watched her on TV yesterday. You don't
Oh,
just sashay on out there. You have some prep. Give us an overview of what that's like now. Different, for sure.
it's harder now than it's ever been. And it's been 36 years. It was 36 years in March. And for a long time, we did our own hair and makeup. You did, I did, whatever. But then after like 10 years at QVC, then they finally got hair and makeup people, and that was a blessing. I was like so thrilled because I've never felt I was very good with my hair. I can do makeup a little better than hair. But anyway, but then when the pandemic hit, I mean, literally in one day, everything shut down and we lost all of our hair and makeup people because nobody could be close to your face, and they let them go, and all of a sudden we were on our own, and we've been on our own since. Obviously, even when people
Oh,
came back to the building, they did not bring back makeup and hairstylists again
not even for
because they were like,
guests
well,
now?
you've already been doing it, why not just keep doing it? I'm
Oh
like,
my
listen,
gosh,
I'm
bummer.
getting older. It's harder and harder to get this to look
You
good.
know, you keep talking about this old age, this aging.
Oh,
Don't, we're born the same year, just months
okay.
apart. So just, I'm perpetually 42, just so you know. But so
That's
no makeup and hair and all of that, but everybody does just fine because everybody looks fabulous on the air. I mean,
Yeah.
really, you guys
So,
do such an amazing job. But now the prep work
yeah,
for
the
if I
prep.
handed you a product, I mean,
Mhm.
the guests that make it on QVC, I'm sure we have some watching right now. They're just so thrilled to have their product on the air. It's such a big network, a global network, because it isn't just stateside, it's worldwide. To
Yeah.
take a product and put it on the air, what's your prep like for that? Or can you just
Well,
look at it and just go?
no,
No.
I can
See?
tell you right now, I'll give you just a scenario of the last 3 days, Monday,
Okay,
Tuesday, Wednesday. Today is
please.
Thursday. Monday, I was on the air 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's a 4-hour shift, but I was there at 7 a.m. But prior to that, then Sunday evening, I spent 3 hours, probably 2.5 to 3 hours, prepping my Monday show. So if you just add that, that's 11 and a half hours. Then I got off the air at 3 p.m. on Monday. And then now I've got to prep for my Tuesday show. So I didn't get home till 6:30 p.m. and I got off the air at 3 p.m. I got home at 6:30 p.m. I had to get, I basically had dinner with my husband and, spent 1 hour watching Jeopardy. And then I got to get to bed because, again, I need to be up and in the building at 7 a.m., which means I got to get in the shower by 5:30, leave home by 6:30. And then I got done on Tuesday. Then we had other meetings after I got off the air. And then I prepped my Wednesday show. So I didn't get home till almost 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. So then Wednesday morning, I get up, my show starts at 10 a.m. Now I need to be there by 6 a.m. Usually we figure 3 to 4 hours ahead of time.
Oh,
And because you
goodness.
need to look at the product, you need to make sure you know how the product works. I look at every piece of clothing I'm going to show. If I have a clothing show, yesterday I had Josie Marin's skincare. I want to make sure I know everything about that skincare, but we have to look up all of the legalese, we call it, that we can and cannot say about a product. And you're looking up, prices, and you're looking all this up. It's just like, seriously, what I say is for every hour I'm on air, there's 1 to 2 hours of prep. And that doesn't include the hair and makeup at all. That's just prep for those products. And if you figure we have approximately 8 products an hour, so in a 3-hour show, we have 24 products, let's say 24, 25 products. In a 4-hour shift, then you're talking more than 30. And I always said if I was a vacuum cleaner salesperson, I would have to know, 12, 13 vacuums. But we sell something different every single day. And so I tell you, you can't get bored. That's one thing about this job. You're never bored because it's always different and every day is different. But it's also just because also now with social media, and we need to like I did today's special value was from KitchenAid. So I had to take that home on Monday. Then Tuesday night, that was another thing I had to do before I could go to bed Tuesday night, was I had to shred carrots, julienne carrots, so I could take a picture of my julienne carrots in my KitchenAid food processor I was going to sell on Wednesday so I could put it on social media. I
So
mean, that's what
it's a
it
lot,
is.
right? It's a
It's,
lot, but you love what you do, right? And they
yeah,
do
I
such a good
love,
job. They have a nice system, but you will have your own system, right?
yeah,
Of
I
how
do.
you plan and how you prepare. Take
Yeah.
take that into mentoring people, because I noticed you've
Mm,
mentored a lot of the new incoming hosts on the air at QVC. Can you
yeah.
give
My
us a little walkthrough?
My first trainee was David Venable, and he's been there more than 25 years.
Oh my
So you
gosh.
know how long I've been doing this. In fact, I thought someday I need to actually add up how many hosts I've trained there. I mean, they all didn't make it. Not everybody made it, but I tried. But no, the thing is that now we actually are just in the process of hiring 3 more new ones. And so I literally start training again now in June.
So you're
And
officially training. This isn't just let me show you the ropes. Old days. This is
no,
you're officially training
yeah,
and teaching.
e- exactly. Yeah. So that takes hours. It takes time to prep. But I have to tell you, and Carmela, that it's like my favorite thing is training. If I can do anything after I get off the air, I want to train. I went to college to be a teacher. And
I
it's
didn't know that.
interesting how I always say I had a degree in teaching and a degree in communications. And the Lord has let me do the communications and the teaching. And I always say, I don't know, there's something about training and teaching that I just love to do that.
You mentioned your faith. You've had that with you. You're a graduate of Bethel, aren't you?
I am Bethel. It was Bethel College back then, 1977 to 1981. I was there and graduated there. Now it's called Bethel University in
Yes.
St. Paul, Minnesota. And yeah, it's like I grew up in a pastor's family. My dad was a Baptist pastor, and my mom helped my dad and 6 kids, and we were in church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday morning for release time, Wednesday night for prayer meeting, and but the whole thing is it's not just something that I grew up in. It became my own as a young,
Love
you
that.
know, young person. At really age 7, I decided to
Oh,
just
wow.
commit my life to Christ.
So,
And so it's been all these years.
and you mentioned, if you wouldn't mind, maybe can we take a tour of the home that Mary Beth is the home that she and her husband built and the family grew up in, but she also dedicated this to God, and you have done some wonderful things and that you've given and given and given. You can, yeah, Peter, if you need room, you can take me off camera. Those are the boys, your 3 boys and daughter. You have a daughter and you have
Mhm.
grandbabies. So you have this
Yes,
nice big house for the grandbabies. Love
exactly.
that.
You know, I'll tell you a cute story. We actually built
Yes.
a house right next door to this house. And it had 4 bedrooms. We had 2 kids at the time. We were hoping to have more. It was 4 bedrooms, but they were all upstairs. And being from Minnesota, and I'm like number 5 out of 6, and Mark is number 6 out of 7 kids. Um, it got to the point where our families would come out and visit, our parents especially, and they couldn't do the steps. And I hated the thought of them having to stay in a hotel. I wanted them in my house. And so there
Beautiful.
was a lot next to us that was empty. And my dad just happened to say one day, kids, if that lot ever comes available, you should consider buying it, building it a different kind of house with a guest bedroom on the main level so mother and I can, stay here. And do you know that it was just a couple of weeks after that? And we had already lived here like 7, 8 years at the house besides. And wouldn't you know, I was out walking and there was a for sale sign on that yard, on that land. And I ran back to the house. I called my bank. I said, I have no idea how I'm going to buy this piece of land, but I know I have to have it.
Awesome.
And they said, well, let's help you figure it out. We bought the land. Over the next 2 years, we built a house which is this house, which I can show you around a
Yes,
little bit.
would you? I mean, talk
Um,
about manifesting and an answered prayer. I mean,
yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. Okay,
exactly.
we're with you.
So anyway, the main thing is it's a ranch. It's a rancher. There is no upstairs. There's a main level, and I'll just take you over here a little bit. And
Cool.
actually,
Let's see a tour of Mary Beth's house. Oh my
well, and
gosh.
it's kind of a mess right now because we're moving out. That's the whole family room. And then the kitchen, which I'll just kind of show you
So you're in the
the
process of
thing.
packing. You're packing
Yes,
right now? Yes. Okay.
we're in
Thank
the
you for.
we've actually moved into like all the little sticky notes are there that say empty.
Oh,
Means
that's a
those
great
cupboards are
idea.
empty. But anyway, that's the kitchen. And the whole thing is we obviously this house has 6 bedrooms, has a guest bedroom right off the kitchen. That was where my mom and dad could stay. And then we have the dining room. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out this camera.
No,
There's the
we're with
dining
you.
room.
And please, it's up for sale. Is it up for sale yet?
Not yet, but it
Okay.
will be soon. But and then there was an
Ooh.
office. I'll just take you over here. There's an office that still has stuff in it. But the main thing was there's 3 bedrooms on the main level. there's a guest bedroom, there's our bedroom, and there was Elizabeth's bedroom. And then the whole downstairs is just like, I'll just go down the stairs a little ways just to show you.
You're so
But
sweet to take us for a tour. Thank you so much.
it's a big room, like a big, huge family room down here, has its own kitchen right there, and then bathroom, etc. But there's 3 bedrooms downstairs. So each of our 3 boys had their bedrooms downstairs.
Oh,
And
packing this up is already making me sweat for you. I'm like, that is,
honey,
and you're
it's a
taking time to,
lot.
and you're doing the shows on the air at QVC, and you're spending time with us. You're taking us for a tour of your home. I mean, my gosh, this is, you have superpower, girl.
Well, I got to tell you, it's been a huge, you know what? It's actually been kind of emotional. I'll be
I'll
honest
bet.
with you. When you get to the point where, I mean, now here's a house with 6 bedrooms. The kids have all moved out. It's just Mark and me. And, you know, it's 2.2 acres, and and it's got a pool and a gazebo and a big yard. And it's a lot for Mark to take care of too. And obviously we're both in our 60s now, and it just was getting overwhelming, you know, and just like, man, we don't want to work so hard kind of thing. And plus we just really felt the Lord telling us time to sell, time to downsize. But you know, it's interesting because even though I know we're being obedient and we're doing exactly what God wants us to do, there's a part of it that kind of is almost like a little bit of a slap in the face, a kick in the gut that says you're moving into the last part of your life, you know?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, okay,
And
we're there. We understand that one.
yeah,
Yikes.
and it just, you know, it doesn't mean, I don't know. It's been like, I had no idea I was going to have these kinds of feelings. I really had no idea I was going to have these feelings. And it's been harder for me to leave this house, but also to think, okay, I'm moving into probably the last house I'll ever have, you know? And so it's interesting because I
Gosh,
said,
Mary.
I'm probably going to live in this house now until I go to the nursing home, you know?
So, but take this house, a lot has happened here. Hosting families, graduations, birthday
Yeah.
parties, lots of people, fundraisers for your son who's running, who's in office or running for office. Is he in office?
Running for office
Running
again.
for office. So
Yeah.
you've had all these wonderful things. You also have done, I want everyone to know this woman's heart, and you can feel her and see her. Um, you've done a lot of good for people who were really sort of out of the blue into your life. You opened up your home to people who are in need. Can you share a little bit with
Sure.
our audience of our conversation we had earlier, please, Mary?
Yeah.
Thanks.
When we built this house, obviously we both grew up in tiny, tiny towns in Minnesota. Like I said, my dad was a pastor. He never had much money at all. Mark's father was a farmer, and this was just like a mansion to us, and we felt so unworthy. But we said, Lord, thank you for the ability to be able to have a house like this. But for that reason, it is yours to use as you want to use it. And we made it so that it had these big, like the big living room and the big rec room downstairs, because first of all, we're big into our church. And so a lot of church people would have Bible studies here. The young people's group, I always said, if you're going to raise teenagers, have their friends come to your house and you know what they're doing, you know who they're with. And so we would bring in, we have a fairly large church. There'd be 150 kids here on every Monday night or for Young Life, or Wednesday nights for Bible studies. And the girls would all be in the living room, and the boys we'd send downstairs to the rec room, you know. But along the way too, there was, as you know, Eric moved out or Corey moved out, there was extra bedrooms. And so at one point, my daughter Elizabeth had a friend, a very close friend, who ended up pregnant, and they were juniors in high school at the time, and her family kicked her out. And I still
Oh,
remember
whoa.
calling me one day saying, can my friend come and stay at our house with her brand new baby? I'm thinking, like, overnight? Yeah, okay, overnight, sure. But then she was like, no, Mom, she has nowhere to live.
Oh,
I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, tell her, get over here right now. And we're going to pull down the bassinet from the attic and get the change table down from the attic and whatnot. And she lived here with us for several months. And it was awesome because Mark and I just felt like we got to pour into this girl and teach her how to raise a baby and, and just minister to that girl at that time. And now that girl is married and she's got 3 kids and,
oh,
all turned out well. And there's been 2 different battered women who needed to get out of their house immediately. And they would be, somebody that somebody I knew, and they'd be like, we don't know where they should go. I said, we've got a basement bedroom. Bring them on over. We'll just make sure everything is locked up and safe and everything. So we've just had a lot of people live here
that's
but
incredible.
it's been awesome. We
For
had a friend of
sure.
my son Corey's. I'll never forget this. This was just something else because my son Corey has a heart the size of Texas. He lives in California. But anyway, he had one of his very good friends was a young black man, young black boy, because they were 10th grade and or 11th grade it was. And he came here for Christmas one night. And I said, his name was Chance. I said, Chance, what did you get for Christmas? And he said, oh, nothing. I said, no, really, what did you get for Christmas? And he said, nothing. And I just I was like, okay, I'm not going to ask any more questions. So then after Chance left, I said to Corey, what was that about? And Corey said, well, they don't even have electricity right now. It is winter
Oh,
as Christmas. He said, they're living in the dark with no heat, just he and his mom. And they're 11th grade at the time. And I said, give me his mom's phone number. I'm calling her. So I called her and I said, listen, Chance, I think Chance should come and live with us. Do you have anybody you could live with? And she said, well, she had her sister she could move in with, but there wasn't room for Chance. I said, no problem. He moved in that Christmas and he lived here for the next year and a half and graduated at the same time Corey graduated from high school. And, it's just like the coolest part is just that we were just open to whatever God wanted us to do. And he just keeps supplying people's needs and our needs as well to take care of them.
you're
So,
inspiring us. Anyone else listening to this completely inspired? We look at you through the lens of the camera and the career and the glamour, the celebrities and the products and the people, and it's fabulous. And you've done extremely well. And you are who you are there, and you're the same person off camera, but you're inspiring us beyond belief today to say, yes, my door is open. Yes, come and live. Yes, come and care for. Yes, do. How do you stay in that? What is that mindset? Help us understand how we can apply it. I mean, that's a
yeah.
part of what the show is, not only interesting, but inspired. How do we apply that? And how do we know it's the right decision? Do you have some
Yeah.
tips there? That'd be wonderful because, wow, I'm ready to go. That's
Well,
inspiring.
I will tell you, I mean, this is the honest truth. People say, well, you're so amazing. How do you do all this? I have 2 reasons I can do this. One is my faith in Jesus, and only by his grace, his mercy, his strength in my life could I do any of that. The other thing is my husband, Mark, because he became a stay-at-home dad when our last 2 were very little. And he has been the keeper of the house while I've had to go do. So a lot of these people who lived with us and everything, a lot of it's him and not me. I would come home and he would have meals made for many. He's a great cook, and he just, it's like, the Lord made us a team for a reason. And, but I tell you, only by God's grace could we get through this. And you know what? It's not all been piece of cake. It's not always peaches and cream. It's been some tough times. There's been moments where, we've been down, we've been feeling like we're overwhelmed. like anybody, you have
right?
your ups and downs. So don't think it's all just been awesome. But, it's like when you hit the valley, you're like, please, Lord, help me crawl out of this,
Wow.
and he does.
Wow, leaning into your faith. One of my questions was going to be, do you have any recommendations or what is your self-care? But you just answered that. I mean, you really
Mhm.
press into the Lord
Yeah.
and you take the steps. See, that's the thing that I'm noticing with you. You literally like it. God can't steer apart. We can't steer a parked car, right? God can't use us if we're not moving. You're moving. So now this move that you're making in this new home, you're downsizing, that will feel freeing and wonderful. But we can't wait to hear how you've squeezed in more people into the smaller house because I'm sure that's going to happen. There's no way that's not happening. You'll just keep going. Oh, I love you, Mary Beth.
Funny,
You're amazing.
my niece who grew up in Minnesota, my brother's young gal, she graduated from college up in North Dakota. And then she needed to study and apply for the MCAT because she wanted to get into medical school. But
Nice.
she didn't want to just stay in the little teeny tiny town that her folks live in and all. And so she said, Aunt Mary Beth, can I come out to Pennsylvania and live with you? Well, she lived with us for 4 years before she actually got into med school. She kept working at it, working at it, working at it. She just finished her second year of med school and she's moved back in with us because just for the summer,
See?
because yeah,
Sorry.
so even in the smaller house, she's moved in, but that's because she's got her first residency coming up
Ooh,
now in August up in Brooklyn, New York. So she's kind of coming back here to the East Coast, and she's got to take a big test and all that to be able to do that. So she's parked, here in
that's awesome.
Pennsylvania, and so it's like,
So
yeah, there are still people, living, and we're fine with that. She's
that's
like another
wonderful.
member of the family.
Hey,
But
how
I
I have a
will just
question though
say
about
this, when
I'm
you were
sorry.
talking about, I was just going to say, when you're talking about what you all can do is
Yes.
just be open. Keep your ears open. When you're at church and the pastor says, we're looking for somebody to open your house to some missionaries that are coming back and they only are going to be here for a month, but so they aren't going to rent an apartment or buy a house or anything. I always say people don't actually ask for much, so you don't have to have much to be the to meet their needs. Let me just put it that way.
Inspiring completely. And we literally could listen to you and talk with you all day long. Do we have any questions from the audience? We'll handle that and then we'll let you go. Your doll collection, that's one of them. What are you doing with your doll collection?
You want to see?
And what's that?
I'm going to show everybody. Now, these are just some of them. These are ones that I brought them down from the attic. I have Betty Ball dolls. I have, look at this beautiful one. I just have to show you, Carmela.
Let's
I don't know if
see.
you can see that one.
Yes.
Isn't
I
that
always love the
beautiful?
lady dolls.
Yes.
Gorgeous with the Gibson hair. Yes. And the Betty
Yeah.
Ball dolls are like a treasure for us,
Yeah.
right?
I
Love
know it.
her.
And it's like, I just don't know what to do with them all. I don't have the room. And yet they all are, I mean, they're all just precious. And, so that's why it's hard to know what to
Another
do.
another question. Are you staying in the same town when you move? You are?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so
We
cool.
just moved
Awesome.
15 minutes away. We actually moved, it's not a 55 plus community, but it's somewhat similar to that. The
Oh,
houses are very close together. They're small, but it's funny because as we've been meeting the neighbors, they're all kind of about our age and they're all downsizers. They've all come from, having families and their kids grew up and moved out and they're just all downsizing. So
it's
that's kind
fulfilling.
of
I know we're extending this, but we're just going to call this podcast can go on forever. But before you go, you're still fulfilled by your career, fulfilled in your home
yeah.
life, the love of your husband and children, and now grandbabies and all of that. You're inspiring to so many people. Do you make goals? Do you like buying the house next or buying the lot next door was almost a open prayer, a manifestation
Yeah.
of something you spoke. But do you make goals? Are you making plans and goals? Are you saying, oh, I'm downsizing now I can travel, or
Yeah.
downsizing now I can fill in the blank? Are you making
You
plans?
know, Right now, to be honest with you, I'm really seeking God's will for how much longer to work and, or to how much longer to
Whoa.
stay at QVC. And as much as I love it, I also, there's something in me, and I'm not quite sure what the Lord wants me to do, but I'm starting to really feel that there's something else He wants me to do. So I have just said, in my praying, I've said, Lord, you tell me when to leave, and I will leave. And until such time, I will be here, and just doing what you want me to do. And I think sometimes I feel like I'm still at QVC for such a time as this. And, to try to be a light in, amongst my coworkers and the people who watch and all. But at the same time, I always say, I am not going to be Jonah and disobey and get swallowed by a whale. When the Lord says time to move, I'm moving.
What,
But
how
you
do
know
you,
what? I will say one thing I do look forward to. I may even before I would leave QVC, I may end up just cutting back a little bit because one of the things I really want to do is spend more time with my grandkids. And I really don't get to see them that much, even though they live 10 minutes from me. I see them maybe once a week. And that's just because of my job and takes a lot of time. And so I
mm,
would love, those little guys are just, they are my heart. And I really believe that I
sweet.
worked a lot in my life. I had a career, not just a job.
Yes.
And so I sacrificed a lot with my kids. I missed holidays. I missed things they did at school. Mark was always there. So it wasn't like nobody was there, but it's like I missed a lot of that. And I
Right.
don't want to miss that with my grandkids.
Mhm.
And, so anyway, that's another reason why I'm just kind of being open to whatever might come my way.
I didn't expect you to say that or share that. Thank you for making us a part of your life, and even more so now. Well, to all of your viewers who are watching, to all the colleagues, the inventors, the guests, the team, the crew, the production staff, and really everybody at QVC, you guys rock. We love you and we appreciate you. And Mary Beth, you continue to inspire with everything you do. And congratulations on the downsizing. If you need any help, just let me know. I'm a downsizing professional. We did it. I'll tell you more about it. So stay where you are, even though we move you off the screen in a moment here. I want to talk with you for just a few minutes. But ladies and gentlemen, I know you've
Thank
all enjoyed this so much. What's the best way for people to keep an eye on you? And is it Facebook? Are you on Facebook much or?
Yeah, Facebook is the
Yeah.
best way, and it's Mary Beth Roe QVC. And
Ah,
I don't post all the time, but I post when I have a really good picture and where I have something to say. It's like
I
sometimes
love
people
that.
are posting 3, 4, 5 times a day. I said I don't have that much to say that people need to hear, but when I have something that I post, so that's
I
a
do
good.
notice though, your guests, they post more than you do. Your guests, people that are on with you, they
Yeah.
absolutely love you with the way you help the
Mm.
customer, the way you shine the spotlight on the guest and their product. And however you've built the system that you've built, just keep it going because it helps us understand it. We're comprehending what you're saying. And
Thank you.
it's a beautiful thing.
I love you, Carmela, and it touches my heart that you asked me to do this. And truly, if I just wish that we lived closer because we would always be such great friends.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm honored you spent time with me. Ladies and gentlemen, Mary Beth Roe. Thank you, Mary Beth. Love you too, sweetheart. So amazing to have her here today, to know more about someone you've watched for years on television. And if you haven't, you're going there now. Mary Beth Roe, QVC, for sure. Well, you hopefully you feel like I do today, fulfilled having my conversation with my friend. I was telling my daughter earlier, Mary Beth and I've been wanting to have this conversation for a long time, and then decided just to share it with you. Under the Spotlight, a weekly series that is not only a video podcast and a live here on Facebook, but on YouTube and elsewhere, all the podcast platforms. And to know who's coming up next and to stay in touch, carmelasterling.com. Go sign up for the VIP audience, and we'll keep you posted with what's happening here as Under the Spotlight continues to be a very important platform As you can see, today was a great experience to get to know someone that so many love, and so many of us are now completely inspired by Mary Beth Roe. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Peter, for producing. Have a great day, everyone. See you next time under the spotlight.